right, Panther Cubs, here's your title for today that we need to write down in our journal. Comparing fractions, common denominator. So pause the video, get that written down. Okay, so now that we have our title written down for today, we're going to talk about what this means. The last segment we talked about common numerator, which, what did that mean? That meant that the numbers on top, the numerators, the number of pieces that we had were the same. Today, we're going to be talking about common denominator. So what do you think that might mean? If it's a common numerator was meaning the same number of pieces, the same number on top, what might common denominator mean? Well, I'm thinking that it's probably very similar to common numerator, except that the denominators are going to be the same. So common means same, and denominator means number on the bottom, which is the amount of pieces or the size of the pieces, however you kind of want to look at it. So that means we're going to be comparing something like 1/3 and 2/3. Okay, so that'll be what we do first. So common denominator is the same denominator. Okay, so step one, look to see if the denominator is the same. Okay, so I'm looking to see, okay, in the last video we talked about look for to see if the numerator is the same. Well, I see the numerators aren't the same, so now I'm going to look at the denominators. So step one, check numerators. Those are different. Check step two, check denominators. Those are the same. So common denominator means that it has the same number of pieces. Same, and we're writing this down, same number of pieces in one whole. Which could also mean that they're the same size. Woo! Same size pieces. So this should be in your notes. Same number of pieces in one whole, which means that they're the same size. So I have one piece that's 1/3 and two pieces that are 1/3. Okay, so we can think about it breaking it down into its unit fraction. So pause this video while you write this down so that you don't miss any of what I'm about to say. Unpause it when you're done writing. Okay, so since you've unpaused it, that means you're done writing the notes down. So I'm going to think about this as the unit fractions, okay, that we talked about. So this is just 1/3. 2/3 is really made up of two 1/3 pieces. So it's really like 1/3 plus 1/3, okay, because I have two of them, not just one of them. Now you notice that the thirds, they're the same size, because if I'm thinking about it, okay, I can think a pizza, 1/3, I'm going to cut it into 3 equal pieces so that they're about the same size. I'm going to color one of them. 2/3, I'm going to cut it into 3 equal pieces, and I'm going to color 2 of them. Okay, so thinking about it, would you rather have one piece that's the same size or 2 pieces? Okay, so I'm thinking that I would rather have 2 1/3 than just one if I'm really hungry. Okay, so that was example 1. We're going to write the next couple examples down because I know this is a little harder because this is not something that you've learned before. I know common numerator should be review from 2nd grade for most of you. Common denominator is new, so it's going to take us a little longer to understand it, and that's okay. So now we're going to do 3/4 and 1/4. This will be example 1 if you didn't write the other one down, example 2 if you did write the last one down. Okay, so step 1, look to see if the numerators are the same. Are the numerators the same? 3 and 1. No. So I'm going to now look at the denominators. Are the denominators the same? Yes. So I'll circle those to show that my denominators are the same. Okay, step 2, break them into their unit fraction. 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. Okay, so really I just have 3 pieces that are 1/4. Here I only have 1/4. Okay, so if I'm thinking about it, they're all the same size pieces. They're all fourths. So would I rather have 3 of them or just 1? So we see here, here's the 1/4, here's a 1/4, here's a 1/4 to make our 3/4, okay? And then 1/4 over here. So the denominators are the same. They're the same size piece, okay? Fourths. But would I rather have 3 pieces or 1 piece? So I'm really comparing the numerators when I do this. How many pieces do I have? So 3/4 is greater than 1/4. Okay? We're going to keep going because I know this is hard and you don't need to understand it right away. It's okay if it's frustrating because it's new. Okay? Don't get yourself freaked out about understanding it. Okay? So now we're going to do 2/6, and this should be going in your journal as well, and 3/6. So I would like you to take a moment to try and write, oh, I'm sorry, let me back up. First step, check the numerators. Are the numerators the same or different? They're different. So I'm going to go to the denominators, check to see, are they the same or different? They're different. So I'm sorry, the new denominators are the same. So I'm going to circle them to show that they are the same. That means that I'm dealing with sixths. Step 2, try to break this into its unit fractions. You remember, unit fraction for this would be 1/6. How many 1/6 do I need? Okay, pause and try and do it on your own, and then check against me. Okay, so you should have your unit fractions down now, so let's see. 2/6 is a 1/6 and another 1/6. 3/6 would be 1/6, 1/6, and 1/6. 3 of those 1/6. So let me pull the pieces in here. Here are my 2 pieces that are the same size, but I have 2 of them. And then 3 pieces that are the same size, but I don't have just 1, I don't have just 2, I now have 3 of them. So would I rather have 2 pieces that are 1/6 or 3 pieces that are 1/6? Well, for me, I'd rather have the 3. So 2/6 is greater than 3/6. Okay, I would like you to do the next one, okay? And then we'll check it against me. All right, so I would like you to do 5/12 compared to 3/12. Okay, step 1, check the numerators. Are the numerators the same? No. Step 2, check the denominators. Are the denominators the same? Yes. That means that my pieces are the same size, or the same amount of pieces make up a whole. Okay, so the 12ths mean that it's going to be all 12ths, that they're the same size in both fractions. So now we're going to break it into the unit fractions. How many 12ths make up 5/12? Well, I have 1/12, another 12th, that's 2, that's another one, that's 3, another one, that's 4, and another one, that's 5. So 5 1/12ths, 5 pieces that are 1/12. Now 3/12ths. How many of these make up 3/12ths? Well, 1/12, I would need 3 of them, so I'm going to make 3. 12th, 1/12. So that's 3 of them. So I can say, here are my 3/12ths, and here are my 5/12ths. Would I rather, if they're the same size pieces, they're all 1/12ths, would I rather have 3 of them, or would I rather have 5 of them? Okay, do we see that there's all 1/12, but it's how many we have. So now we're not looking at the size of the piece, we're looking at how many pieces we have. Okay, so I'd rather have 5/12. Okay, so we're gonna write down the notes so that you can do these problems on your own and you can refer back to them, okay, in case you need it. All right, so we're gonna say the first things is if the denominators are the same, that means the pieces are the same size. Okay, if the denominators are the same, the pieces are the same size. We're going to check to see how many pieces. Okay, so we're going to look at how many pieces we have. So this is step one. If the denominators are the same, the pieces are the same size, so look at how many pieces you have. In order to do that, we'll write the fractions, write each fraction as the sum of the unit fractions. Okay, and I'll give just a quick example of that so that you have an example. So 3/4 equals 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. Okay, so if the denominators are the same, the pieces are the same size, look at how many pieces you have. Write each fraction as the sum of the unit fractions. So 3/4, as an example, is 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. Okay, if you haven't finished writing, pause the video, write it down, and then start the video again. And then the last thing we write is more pieces, fraction with more pieces is the bigger fraction. Okay, that's the last thing we need written down. Okay, if you still have time before it's time to move to the next center, I would like you to try a couple to see if you can do it. And we're gonna be working on this at the table as well. So if you still don't understand, don't freak out, don't worry, don't stress, because you're gonna come to the table and do it with me as well. So if you still have time, I would like you to try 3/8 compared to 3/4 and 5/10 compared to 2/10. Okay, make sure you bring this with you to the table so that we can continue to work on it. Okay, so far we've talked about comparing fractions with like numerators, now with like denominators. Like denominators is the same size pieces. What am I doing? Oh my goodness. Forget this example, I'm sorry. 3/8 and 1/8. 3/8 and 3/4 would have been common numerator. Okay, so common numerator, look at the size of the pieces to compare. Common denominator, look at how many pieces you have in order to compare. I know it's a lot to keep track of. It's okay. Stay calm. We'll get through it.